All right, hello everyone. We are back for the last live stream for Hacktober, October. I'm gonna keep working on Blueprint. In fact, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, kind of see where I left off way back in part 2. Part 3, I wasn't feeling well. I just didn't have the energy to kind of crank out this new feature. So we took some of those like low-hanging issues and knocked those out. I think the mailable automatically generating its template if one was set. So in this one, I'm going to return back to part 2, where basically I was working on those meta descriptions or meta features that allow you to specify things like which class something extends, if it's a pivot table, custom table names. We got the custom table names done in the first stream. We got part of the pivot stuff done in that stream as well, the part 2, if you're interested. And I did a little bit, I did a little bit off stream, but not much. Off stream, I really just kind of set up the failing test for all those extra things I kind of started noodling on at the end of part 2. So today I would like to make this test pass, and then if we can move forward with maybe that class extension bit. I think we're already doing it with models, but we're probably not doing it with controllers. So we'd want to write a test to kind of make that work. So those are the two things I want to work on. So I want to get this test passing. I'll kind of recap what's failing here, what's going on, and then we'll focus on the class extension if I get to it. This could take a while, we'll see, which is one of the reasons I didn't necessarily kind of live stream it right away. So I'm hearing some chat. Hey, how's it going? Vince, how's it going? All right, good. I'm assuming everyone can see me and hear me okay. So let's start jumping into the code. So again, way back in part 2, we kind of started this kind of working with pivot tables. So let's take a look at this failing test. And this failing test is basically has to do with kind of the generation of this fancy custom pivot model. So let's kind of take a look at this. And I'm gonna find that, and let me bring up the draft file for this, so this custom pivot YAML. So if we take a look at this custom pivot YAML, basically what we're doing here is we've introduced a few new things to Blueprint. Now again, none of this is merged yet, but this will be kind of the new stuff. So if you kind of think of like a user and a team, if you wanted an intermediate model for your custom, kind of a custom pivot table, if you will, previously we might have done something like membership here. And this would have been the table name, but now we've kind of introduced this new syntax of a reference. So now you can say user references at membership, and whether that's going to be a traced model or whether that's a model that you've defined here, Blueprint should now pick that up and honor it. So again, some more tests to do here on kind of the picking up of that pivot model. If you weren't to define it here, if somehow it already existed or you created it manually. But in this kind of base case, it would show up here, you know, you've defined it here in your Blueprint draft file. So here it is, here's the membership, and here's kind of this new section that we're adding. So two things you would set up here. First, you would put in this new meta property. And so long as it's an array, you know, by convention, it should probably be at the top, but so long as it's an array, it's going to get pulled out as basically being like customized things you want to set. So right now, again, we support pivot, we support table for models, and we support extends for like updating class inheritance or customizing class inheritance, which again, I'll work on that after we finish this pivot bit. So in this case, for a user and a team, if you kind of have a belongs to many, and again, you have a pivot model, we'll call it, you basically could define that with meta. You say pivot true, give it the table name. Now, even though this is the conventional table name, because Blueprint doesn't necessarily know you know, which models this thing references, the easiest thing to do would just be to specify that table name, even though this is the convention, the alphabetical, you know, singular names. And again, all that's kind of written out by convention in the docs. So this is actually kind of pretty similar to the documentation example for kind of custom pivot models. So here we can see the role is defined alphabetical order of the model names. So we've specified this. This is our draft file. And now kind of what we're expecting is that it's going to generate these, but instead of generating a very simple belongs to relationship, it's actually going to generate a rather complex one. So let's kind of take a look at one of these, because once we get one of them, the rest should be pretty straightforward. So if I copy this and whoops, open this file, we'll take a look. So all the stuff here is pretty straightforward. User model has factory, fillable stuff, casts. Here's where it gets interesting. No longer do we just say belongs to many. Now we would go so far as to say, oh, you made a reference to a membership model. Okay, that's going to be using membership, and it's going to be as membership given the name of the reference, just kind of lowercased there. Or snake cased maybe, I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to figure that out. If you have kind of a compound name, so if this is something like, role name or whatever, is this role name? Is this role name? I don't really know what the best convention there is. We'll peruse the docs and see. But for the point of membership, we'll just make it lowercase for now, or snake case. And then here's, again, more fancy stuff. If that model actually has additional fields in it outside of kind of what it references, then those would be listed here in columns. So in this case, the ID, and then with timestamps. I'm not positive if you have with timestamps, if it's automatic or you have to say something like this. I don't know that. So again, I'm making some assumptions about kind of how this works. The docs weren't necessarily clear. If you're watching and let me know. But this is kind of what I'm going to assume that this should end up generating. So again, these are going to be automatic. But again, remember, Blueprint, despite being a pivot model, is going to automatically, for all models, generate the ID and timestamps. So that's why we're kind of getting these two pieces here. Now, with pivot should have an array of all columns without the foreign keys listed in there. So we need to output this. So that's kind of what this test is failing on here. Now, if we were to kind of look at what it is outputting, we would probably see something a little bit more like this, I think. So that's what it's probably outputting right now. So let's see if we can get this to output just a bit more. I'm hearing some stuff in the chat, so let me check. Hey Haas, how's it going? Daryl, what's up? Daryl, where are you? What is that flag? Let me roll over. Does it say? I don't know if it says the flag or the country of origin there for that flag. So let me know where you're coming from there. Cool, cool. All right. Well, let's get involved here. So populate stub. Somewhere in here, we probably have build relationships. There it is. Okay, beautiful. All right. So we have methods. We have pull out the method name. Are we going to generate that? We're going to loop over each of the references. Is model fully qualified? Let's just kind of learn what we're doing here. Custom template equals template. Where'd template come from? Template is just the method stub, no problem. All right, key, class, reference. If it's fully qualified, we're going to get the very last name. Otherwise, get before the ID. Okay. Okay. str contains reference colon. Oh, you can say like user colon whatever. Okay, so this is just kind of breaking up the names here of like how that works if you've customized the foreign references. Okay, so if key is ID, null. If fully qualified, str to lower. This is kind of the name of what we want here. Wow, this is actually pretty dense. This is a little more dense than I would have expected. So here's belongs to many, and this is definitely kind of what we want to be messing with. So we set column name to that. Wow, there is a lot of stuff in here. If we use return type hints, this method is actually pretty massive. I didn't expect it to be this crazy. All right, let's get in here. Let's get in here and let's just var dump kind of what. Let's just kind of like poor developers debugging here. Let's just var dump what a relationship kind of is, right? And that's going to let us know like type and fully qualified and column name and kind of all the things we want to know, right? So let's dump this out. We probably ought to limit it to just our thing. So let's filter this down so we don't get so much noise. Okay, so we get kind of this belongs to many account test. That's a bit strange. I'm not sure where that one comes from. And then belongs to many team class, and then we have this ampersand membership. So right away, there's a little hook here when it's ampersand that we would know that it's kind of like a special pivot, right? Because that should be the only cases that you're using membership like that, or sorry, using that notation. So this is good. We are getting team, but we just wouldn't want to put that right there. Okay? So what do we need to kind of do here that would be fancy? If not is null class and type. Column name is class. Where does class come from? Class is null. Where do you get set class? Oh, we explode the reference. Okay. What we probably need to do here, class reference explodes before the last. Do we actually like look up this model? I'm trying to figure out if we actually look up this model anywhere. Is fully qualified, otherwise it's not. Fully qualified model reference. To do get model name from tree. If not found, assume parallel namespace as controller. Wow. This is some dense stuff here. Okay. If is null key, if not is null class, else just kind of dump out the bit here. So I think probably the easiest thing to do here is say something like else if, for now, we're only going to support this reference syntax in belongs to many. So I would go so far as to say something here like if, let's set this up with like a is pivot maybe. If pivot and belongs to. Let's see if we can start triggering it to get in here. I think that's what we want to do. And let's take this and we'll just, for now, we'll kind of change this to be this. Now again, there's a lot more stuff we want to say here with this relationship, but that's going to be kind of the tricky part. So higher up here, we would have to say else if str, let's kind of take a peek here. So column name is the reference. So the reference method name I think we're going to have to do this a bit higher up. But for now, let's just say if str starts with reference, starts with an ampersand, then we know right away we can do some interesting things with it, right? So right away, there would be no column name. There's probably no column name here. And then method name, I don't know how we use that. Method name's probably fine, according to what we have. Here, let's just, for now, let's just say is pivot equals to true. And this is all, there's probably more I'm gonna have to do in here. So let's just is pivot equals false. Where do we set is fully qualified? Oh, we set it right up there at the top. Okay. So let's just set that to false. Let's see if we can get in there now. Okay, it doesn't seem like we're getting in there now. So something's wrong with reference. For each references is reference. What does relationships give us back? Var dump. That didn't give me what I thought it was going to give me. Let's var dump type and reference. Oh, they're grouped by type, so belongs to, and then reference. It's really more about like what is reference. I think reference is like the whole thing where it says like team colon ampersand membership. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we excuse me. So we are going to get in here, and now we would need to play around with this. So method name is before last column name. That's not true. Now it's more of a matter of if, here is where if column name, this is where we would say str starts with column name. I'm just trying to do like the minimally invasive thing here because this code is so dense. It really needs some refactoring and some code comments because it is dense. So method name, I'm not sure why we keep calling this method name, but let's just say method name is equal to str after subject is still going to be column name after that ampersand. That's a little silly. I mean, we could just do a substring, but let's keep going. Okay, so it's not going to contain a reference of a dot. That's fine. Else class equals foreign reference. That should be fine. And we really don't need to do this anymore other than setting. Here we would want to set the pivot true. Now let's see if we get to where we think we're going to get now. We're still not getting where we think we want to get. So what's wrong here? Var dump, whoops, var dump column name. All right, test at membership, ampersand membership. Okay. So if starts with, why would you not start with what we think you start with? Var dump here. For some reason it's not getting in there. Oh no, it is. Okay, here and here. Okay, good. So it's getting there. Pivot should be true. The problem now is we're not getting lower, and it's because class is getting set up as foreign reference, which kind of makes it dump in here, which is a little bit wrong. So maybe not is null class. We don't even like really use class in here other than the column name. It's kind of strange. Would I want to null out class? Where is class used other than this? So class is null. It gets exploded. class would get exploded. Otherwise, foreign reference. I feel like this is good. We probably want to keep class here. I think the trick now maybe is not to override this, but to maybe not to override that, but instead to maybe in here say if is pivot var dump. Let's just var dump what we're at here, reference. I'm gonna drop this. All right, so that goes back to the way we were. Okay, so team and membership, user and membership. Okay, that should be good. So here the tricky part is kind of changing up relationship. So let's just change it in here for now. Again, I don't like that this is nested, but we can refactor later. Let's try to get this going the way we want. Let's see what we land with now. And let's kind of get, before we return all the methods here, maybe let's just var dump these methods here, just so we can kind of see what is getting output. Okay, so what is getting output is accounts belongs to many tests. I have no idea where this accounts is coming from. There must be multiple. There must be multiple of those or something. I'm not sure. Public function teams belongs to many team class. And now we start to say, okay, you're a pivot. So use all that other stuff that we said to kind of clean it up. Let's see here. What's the funky thing on the wall? Oh, Philippines, cool. I think you need to set class to null. Yeah, I probably could set class to null. Let's keep going. Is it ampersand or ampersand? I've always said ampersand. Ampersand. Holy cow. Oh my god. Maybe that's like a Kentucky thing. I don't know. I've always said ampersand. Oh man, ampersand. Wow. You saw it here, folks. Ampersand. Okay. I learned something today. All right, let's keep going. Ampersand. That's funny. Can't believe that. I'm surprised. My wife normally teases me on words I say wrong. I can't believe she's never caught me on that one. Although, how often do you say ampersand in like a daily conversation? I guess unless you're a programmer. Anyway, okay, I think we have what we need to have here, right? Users belongs to many. This is good. Okay, so now let's start tacking on a lot of those other pieces. So let's just kind of get as far as we can with like these other pieces when we know that it's kind of a pivot table reference. So this is going to get a little bit ugly. Yeah, this is going to get pretty crazy, actually. What's going to get returned here? Oh, man. Okay, so we would add, let's just start appending it. So let's say, let's just append sprintf. And we would append some kind of space, and now we would append, what are we looking at here? We would say using, and that would be %s class, and this would be class, we would believe, right? Because that's what we set it to. No, this would be method name? No, that can't be right either. What does that reference get set to? That's weird. We would definitely want to keep foreign reference. Method name, column name. What does method name get set to? This is strange. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm assuming that's class, but it's not, because class is really this. But I'm going to put class there for now. And this is the indent. So this would be like str pad. We have 4 for the method, 4 for the indent of the body, and then 4 more for the indent of the kind of multi-line relationship statement. So that would be pad that by 12. All right, and we're going to do this a couple times. So this would be as next, and this is going to be kind of like the lowercase name here. So this will be quoted. And I think for now we just put those in there. And then this would be probably str2 or snake, we're going to say, on class. Now again, I don't think class is the correct thing here. Maybe it's column name, which is also kind of wrong, but I'll put column name in there for now. And then here's where we'd have to do some additional checks. We would have to say something here like if model, and again, I don't even know if we've looked up model, but we would say something like if model, do we have timestamps? Timestamps? Uses timestamps? So we're going to need to look up the model. We may have already. But if model uses timestamps, then we would say, you know, with timestamps here. With timestamps. And then same thing here. We would say if model. We don't even need is pivot. We would probably just say columns here. We would probably need a method that said something like, if you have pivot columns, or whatever the right name for that is, then we would want to print those out, you know, here with like, what is that? With pivot. And for now, I'm just going to hard code this to like ID for now. I'm just trying to see, I'm going to see how close we get here. Again, this is all sorts of wrong, but let's just see how close we get. All right, let's output this. All right, so I didn't have a syntax error, so that's good. Okay, we need some line breaks, but that is actually kind of looking the way we would want it to look, more or less. So do I want to do the line break here? Yeah, let's just do this here. PHP EOL dot, because this is all about the indent. All right, let's do this again. Returns public function users return. So this actually looks pretty good. I don't know where this using class comes from. Oh, I've got an extra one. Okay, so our column name is actually pretty correct here. It just for some reason still has the ampersand. So let's go see what's going on with that. Oh, here we go. That's the problem. We would probably want to say column name. Again, we're kind of leveraging variables that don't have the best name here, but let's just stick with it for a second. Okay, so now we're outputting team class, membership ID, timestamps. That actually looks pretty good. Why is this failing? Teams, team, membership with pivot ID timestamps. Did I spell something wrong here? With timestamps, with as membership. I didn't seem to spell anything wrong. Let's see if maybe my indent's wrong. Well, I tell you what, let's let's take this code where it's kind of pulling that in, and let's go to our expected output and just kind of paste that. Okay, it's verbatim. So what is wrong here? What did I do wrong here? It's claiming that that is wrong. As membership, using membership as membership. I just copied this. Very strange. Those should be, according to PHP Storm, those are exactly the same. So there must be something else in this file that it doesn't like. Let's see what it's outputting overall. So let's get rid of this var dump and go way back up to the top and print. Let's var dump out this stub. There's got to be something else about this stub that's messing up, because the relationships actually seem to be getting built pretty well. So let's go way up. Here we go. Let's go way up here. And I think I already see the problem. Yeah. It's actually email. So if we go look, email, I don't have name. So let's back this up where I haven't broken anything. So here's where I was kind of messing around pre-stream, and let's change this to email and see if we make it. Okay, a little bit farther, we're on users now. So same thing, maybe I just messed up. Let's see if I just messed this up. Name fillable integer users team. Oh, this should be user. Duh. Okay, good. Now we're down to the pivot model itself. So let's kind of see what's going on here with the actual membership thing. So membership, what are we outputting? Class membership extends pivot, has factory, it's fillable, it has a cast, it belongs to, which is good. Okay, so membership pivot, table name, there we go. Okay, so that's part of it. Oh, this incrementing, that's a good one. And then this ID should be an integer. Users belongs to, so that's a little bit closer. Okay, so what we're missing is this stuff when you actually generate a pivot model. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's clean this up now. So we're pretty close. Although before I forget, let's take that back out. Let's go back to relationships. Now again, I just kind of hacked this, but we can refactor later. For now, what I want to do is just make a little to-do here. Filter proper columns to, or yeah, whatever. Filter actual columns outside of timestamps and foreign keys. Wow, I cannot spell today. Apparently I can't speak or spell today. There we go. There we go. Filter out columns. Okay, so I just want to leave that again. I'll kind of tinker with that off stream, but we could see that this is pretty straightforward. We would probably just do a little special code here that kind of gets rid of that. Real quick, actually, var dump. Am I getting the right model reference here? I just want to see, because I'm kind of skeptic that I'm getting the right model reference. Belongs to many. Yeah, see, model's actually team in this case. I don't think it's membership. Yeah. Okay, so we also need a to-do of get the right get the pivot model as model. There we go. Okay, so a couple to-dos there, but again, the test is passing. So while that's clearly broken, I think we've hacked on that enough. Let's keep moving so I can get far enough along in this stream because I only have about 15 more minutes. Okay, the next thing we want to mess with is, let's go back up to where we actually generate this stub. And build properties is probably what needs to happen here. So if not uses timestamps, if model not uses timestamps, then property dot equals model timestamps. Timestamps stub. We could probably go so far now as to say, this is kind of weird. We would really want, I think if we go look at the model timestamps stub, it probably says timestamps false. Yeah, which is probably not exactly what we want to say. So we have table, that's good. What we don't have is, what was that we're looking for here? We're looking for this incrementing. Do I have that? I don't think so. Let's change this to say model incrementing. And let's borrow this. And get rid of that. There we go. All right, and so let's go back to model generator, and now we would basically say if model is pivot, I don't know if it's going to count as use. Was it getting user table name? I don't think it was if we go back up here and look. I don't think it was getting the user table name. So to me, it would seem that if it's a pivot, yeah, let's just say or model is pivot. We're pretty much always going to, because if you have a custom model name, it's pretty likely that you would, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty likely. Again, I think we'll go with that for now. And then finally, if is, same thing, if model is pivot and model primary key, I think uses primary key. Yeah, there we go. Then we would want to dot out this incrementing. Let's see if this gets a little farther. Probably going to need to stub those out. Let's var dump out this membership, or let's var dump out these stubs again, just because it's easier to kind of see how close we're getting. Stub. All right. So membership, fillable. It didn't output anything. Oh, yeah. Again, we're gonna need to update our test. Let's kind of do tab 0 here. There's a lot of things going on. Okay, we need to update our stubs. So here we would go so far as to say incrementing, and we would need table, I think. Let's just get those in order a bit. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so now we have incrementing, good, and table name, good, just no line break there. So it seems like I just messed up some formatting somewhere. So let's kind of see how that formatting is supposed to work. So build properties, str replace the stub. I don't see any line breaks that are automatically being added here. So my guess is we're just missing a line break if we go look at these, they either have one before or after. So incrementing has one after. Table name has one after. So why are they missing something? Fillable just has one. Guarded just has one. Hidden just has one. Where is my missing line break? There it is. Why don't you do what you're supposed to do? Model table name, good. So if it's a pivot, we always output the table name, which I feel like we probably don't need to do that. But again, I can write a separate test for that. Where is our line break issue? Model incrementing stub. What is wrong with you? All of these just have a trailing. All of these just have a trailing break, so I don't know why. I don't know why that would be a problem. Why would you just have one after table name? Table, there it is. I mean, obviously I can go to table name and put an extra line break in, and that should get a bit closer, but that's strange that that's needed. That shouldn't be needed. It shouldn't be needed. Unless fillable has two. Has factory. Is it something special about the very first one having multiple line breaks? It doesn't seem like it. All of these just have one, so that's not what it is. It's not like it's a special case. Properties is nothing. Properties, string replace name out of table name on the stub, great. Timestamps doesn't have anything. Get the stub for incrementing. Get the stub for guarded. See, down here we do put in line breaks, but I think, why do we put in line breaks there and not up higher? Strange, strange, strange. There's some assumption going on here about like what's first and what's next, and I think that's what I'm missing. I think that's what's happening here, because as you get down to some of these lower ones where it's like more or less expected that one of these is going to be output, I do put in line breaks. So it's kind of strange that these have some and the other ones don't. Very confusing. I don't have an answer for it right now, so here's what I'm going to do. PHP EOL dot. I think that should get us closer. Okay, so the output now is membership pivot, table team user, incrementing is true, fillable is that, casts is that, user and team. Okay, now what's wrong here? We have table, we have incrementing's true, we have cast is in it. Okay, so there's no fillable. There's no fillable that's getting output. Why is there fillable here? Because there should be fillable there. There should be. Those are normal columns that you would potentially fill. So let's, and we didn't turn in guarded, so I think that is correct that those should have that. So let's go down to our pivot membership and let's put these where they belong. Let's run this again. We should be a little bit closer. So the output now, Let's just copy and paste the expected output. Something's amiss here. All right, so we just dumped that in there and we clean that up. Let's paste this in and see what all we have. Okay, so we have those. That makes sense. What else is broken? Nothing else should have been broken. No closing line. That's okay. Now we pass. I'd like to know what I was missing. Something's missing about these. Yeah, I jumped up 4 lines. So what did I forget here? Let's paste this in. Casts. Oh, looks like I got rid of I see. Somewhere along the lines I got rid of the casts. I got rid of the cast PHP doc block for some reason. All right, let's run this again. Okay, so we're passing now. Let's get rid of that var dump that's in our model generator, and let's take off the filter and run all these to make sure that this added stuff that we did not break anything else. And I think I'll have to stop the stream here. So let's run this. We should be green. We are. Good. And let's run this. Okay, now we have an exception in another spot. And it seems model with meta, app posts, model with meta. What did I break here? Okay, here's a good example of probably where it didn't expect that to kind of be written out. So let's take a look at what the expected thing is. And this might drive that part that I was talking about with the custom name, I think. Fillable title content, cast integer. So what is it actually outputting here versus what it is? So this is kind of what it is, which does appear correct to me. So let's go back and put our var dump in and kind of see why this is broken. Whoa. Table equals posts. That's not gonna work. Let's filter just this one down. Oh, it's a data set. Ooh, hey, it's a good chance to do that filter. I think we learned this last week from Adrian. You can do something like this, and I think it just runs this one, which it did. Okay, so let's see what's broken about this data set 11. Okay, so extends pivot, table associated with the model. Did I break that? Nope, table associated with the model. Title fillable integer cast. Okay, so let's just, same thing we did a minute ago. Let's oh, I see what it is. It's the line breaks. There's 2 line breaks here. So something's happening. Yeah. I think if we look, yeah, I'll have to look at that a little bit more off stream. There's some logic that's hard to see in there that the very first thing is assumed to kind of be this table name. And then if you throw in a line break after the fact, you kind of end up with the incorrect line breaks. So I think what I'm probably going to do is refactor that properties to be an array and then just implode them at the bottom with a line break. I think that's going to be a lot easier than like keeping track of the string that if something has been added. So yeah, I think this is a good indication of, again, where it shouldn't be kind of throwing in that line break. So that'll force me to kind of clean that up, which is good. So again, what I'm talking about here is right now, I'm just kind of appending all these properties, and it's a little bit strange because they don't include a top level line break, so they're getting put one after another. So I think the thing to do, would be something like this, where they all just get appended, and then down here, it's kind of like return, implode properties with PHP EOL. So then I'm just kind of tracking each property block in an array, and then I implode it and trim that up. So expected parameter type. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that, but I think once I turn this into array, PHP Storm will be a bit happier. So I'll do that off stream, and I'll kind of clean up maybe this spot. It'd be good to have a pivot table that was conventionally named where Laravel could guess it. Again, I don't know why you'd write things that way, but I would want to make sure that when pivot tables got output, generally speaking, by Laravel, that table name was set the way it expected. So let's just say you generate, instead of generating membership, let's say you generated a team user model that extended pivot. I think that Laravel would actually potentially get that name right. I'd have to look it up, but for now I don't think it's bad to just always set the table name. So that's what we'll do. All right, so again, that's the end of Hacktober for me. I will try to get this merged and fixed. I'm out next week at Longhorn PHP, so it'll be a good break for the live streams at that time. But yeah, I will try to get this feature merged because this is kind of the last big issue that's open. If we go look over here, both of these, all three of these will effectively get handled once, again, the ability to customize table name, the ability to support custom pivot models. All these things that are still tagged Hacktober kind of get closed once this is finally merged. And I think it creates a nice setup, this key that we're looking at here. It kind of gives us a lot of room to maybe start to do custom things in the future. Again, I probably won't spend the time to add these, but that meta property gives us a framework that if other people want to do some other kind of properties, I don't know what those are, but maybe if you want to add traits to a class, there's a good one. Now there's this kind of quote unquote framework or wiring in place where you could say, traits, notifiable or whatever. So, all right, well, and with that alarm, I have to head to lunch. So I got a lunch meeting. All right, so again, thanks everyone for joining live. See you all in a couple weeks, and look for this PR to get merged and announcement on Twitter soon.